I the jerk for not allowing my partner to drink? I know the title sounds like I am starring in a sitcom in the 1950s, but it is not like that, I promise. Before I met my wife, she was a self-proclaimed alcoholic and drug addict who was addicted to some pretty bad drugs. A couple of months before we met, she decided to quit using drugs and went to Narcotics Anonymous meetings to help her with her sobriety. After her first meeting, she went to a bar and got drunk. After some time, she also decided to quit alcohol. Since then, the only drugs she uses are nicotine and Delta-8. She has been sober for years at this point. I have always been against alcohol because I do not like the way it tastes or the way it makes me feel. Also, I think it makes others make bad decisions, and I do not like being in a state of mind where I can make bad decisions. I am not against drugs and used to use marijuana and psychedelics commonly. At the point of meeting my wife up to now, I have only used nicotine. I met my wife on a dating app where one of the reasons I wanted to meet her was because she stated that she was sober. I thought it would be nice to be in a relationship where I did not have to be the designated driver for the other person, or take care of them when they are drunk or high like I have had to do in past relationships. We had a baby about a year ago, and it was really hard on her. She had bad postpartum depression after a high-risk and not great pregnancy. We have a beautiful baby boy who we both love, and her depression is mostly gone. Sometimes, he can still be a huge handful, and some doctors have told us that we need to watch for autism in him. Recently, my wife has been talking about how nice it would be to have a glass of wine at the end of the day. That is fair considering how hard she has it being a stay-at-home mom, but I had assumed she was just venting and reminiscing. That is, until she asked me if I would be okay if she drank wine at the end of the day on hard days. I told her that I would not be comfortable with that, considering her past addiction issues, and I explained to her how I feel about alcohol. She acquiesced but was obviously unhappy about my reaction. I feel like an asshole because it is her body, and she should be able to do what she wants with it. I am mostly just scared she will fall into old habits, but I am also definitely coming at it with a selfish perspective. I think you are not in the wrong here. She asked if you'd be okay with her drinking wine after hard days, and you honestly expressed your concerns. It's not about controlling her choices, but about finding healthier ways to cope with stress. Maybe explore other relaxation methods and see how you can support her better. Am I the jerk for taking a Raincheck on my stepdad's family reunion? A few months ago, my mother got a plane ticket as a gift for me to go to Boston for my stepfather's family reunion from June 20 to June 25. Work-related issues came up, and I can only go from June 21 to June 24. Starting yesterday, I apologized profusely and said if she cancels or changes it, I will repay her. She is still livid. I understand that life happens. In October, when she made the ticket arrangements, I could go on those days because we were fully staffed. Recently, we have had some people quit unexpectedly. We are now understaffed, and I just stepped into the new role of assistant manager of the store a few weeks ago. I am now needed more urgently, so I cannot take off as much time until we find replacements and train them sufficiently. I tried explaining this to her, but she just said my boss is being cheap to take the full range of days off anyway, and that he will not fire me. She even suggested that he will appreciate me more after I come back. I am the child, but it feels like I am dealing with a child here. It is awkward being the redheaded stepchild at a family reunion where no one there is even your family. I have been to 3 of them for my stepfather already. I really do not want to go regardless, but I am reluctantly willing to go over a long weekend. Today, I keep getting chewed out. My mother and stepfather are so toxic, it is just unbelievable. Even after I gave them my good reason, they still attacked it. Even if I did not have a good reason, it is unnecessary for my mother to say I break promises and have bad behavior. She was being passive-aggressive, saying my boss is more important than my own mother and that what I am doing to my mother is total nonsense. She said she does not know how she will ever get over this, that I am disrespectful and untrustworthy, that she is disappointed in how I have lived my life, and that I am stuck. She even started attacking my father, who has nothing to do with this. Then, my stepfather says I have no character and that I am a coward. He said my word is meaningless. I am pathetic. This will take a lot for me to overcome. I am disinvited from any future events, and that I am a backstabber. My stepfather wanted me to come over to talk. What? So he can verbally abuse me in person? No thanks. All this happened after I have apologized profusely, given a reason, and offered to reimburse my mother if she could change the travel dates. If she could not, I offered to reimburse her for the plane ticket she bought me. I felt genuinely bad at first, but now I just feel anger after they kept relentlessly berating me. Berating me is one thing, but bringing my father into this, who has nothing to do with it, in order to trash him is just a whole other level. Despite this, I remained polite and did not stoop to their level. I could be the one at fault because I did indeed bail on the trip. However, I tried to be as good of a sport about it as possible and gave several days' notice. Tell them you aren't going to go at all if this doesn't stop instantly and if it happens even once after. Reimburse her for the ticket and tell her that since your character is so low in their opinion, you will not embarrass or inconvenience them further by attending any part of the reunion. Let them know you wish them the best and go low contact. Enough is enough. Am I the jerk for yelling at my ex-friends for outing me twice? I, a 15-year-old girl, got outed last year, and the people who did it are trying to bring it all back. I dated a girl last year and we had a messy breakup. A mutual friend told my ex that I had been talking negatively about her, saying that she should harm herself, and that I never liked her at all. This same mutual friend told our entire grade about my sexuality, and my ex would not talk to me. Eventually, my ex and I talked and worked out what had happened. We parted ways on good terms and both dropped this mutual friend who turned out to be extremely toxic and manipulative. Recently, a friend of mine was at my ex-girlfriend's birthday party, and they were all talking about drama and such. My ex-girlfriend's sister decided to bring up what had happened the year prior. She said I was a bully and that I was wrong for stopping being friends with the girl who outed me and spread many rumors. My friend told me, and I confronted my ex-girlfriend's sister over text. I told her that I knew she was talking about it and that I did not want to get outed again. I also told her that I did not appreciate her bringing this all back over a year later and outing me again. She denied her actions multiple times and tried to flip the story by making me out to be the bad person for making the girl who outed me cry. Eventually, my ex-girlfriend's sister, a friend to mediate, and I joined a group chat where I yelled at my ex-girlfriend's sister for outing me again, knowing I had experienced many harmful feelings last year. I told her I believed more people would get hurt if she brought this back a year later. This is also where my ex-girlfriend's sister said the situation caused her to want to harm herself. I apologized for making her feel that way. However, I told her I was not going to coddle her and apologized for confronting her when I just did not want to get outed again, which is what ended up happening. Am I the asshole for yelling at her and making her feel this way? Sister's pity party is being fueled by homophobia, and that's disgusting. The number of homophobes in this friend group is staggering, and my ex deserves better, not just from me, but in general. If my ex isn't openly out, it's likely she had something to say to her sister as well. All in all, it's clear that the blame is being misplaced, and it's unfair to keep bringing up past drama. Am I the jerk for ruining a religious celebration? I, a 36-year-old female, have been married to my 42-year-old husband for 11.5 years. I changed my religion to be with him, and he is generally a good, loving, and caring husband and father to our 4-year-old son. We fight occasionally like all couples do, but today I was really offended and hurt. I come from a different culture and usually expect guidance from my husband for religious celebrations. I am happy to prepare food for it and celebrate together, but I always ask him to get the food, or at least tell me what he would like to have for such celebrations. This time was no different. In the morning, he went for prayers with our son and said that we would prepare breakfast together when they returned. Out of love, I wanted to make sure everything was ready for when they got back. I prepped the food, added some extras, cleaned the table, and changed the tablecloth so it would look nice and presentable. The only thing left to do was the eggs, which we prefer to do fresh anyway. When my husband came back, he saw the table and said nothing. He went to the kitchen to start prepping eggs. I went to help him and asked if he saw the table. He said he did. I asked if he liked it. He said yes, so I said it would be nice if he acknowledged it as I put in the effort. He then proceeded to say that in his culture, it is understood that women on such religious celebrations would prep the table and wait for their husbands to come back and have breakfast together. In other words, he doesn't need to say thank you as it is expected from the wife. It made me feel unappreciated, and I didn't let it slide. I asked him if I don't deserve his appreciation for doing something nice for my family. He said thank you, but told me not to expect a thank you in the future as there are only 2 days of big religious celebrations in the year, and according to his culture, it is expected for me to prep and serve food when he's back after prayers. I got really mad. Why should I be doing all of that and not expect a simple thank you? Should I not receive any appreciation for the extra effort I put in, making sure food is ready as I know both my son and my husband would be hungry when they got back? He was getting really angry, so we ended up having a pretty bad fight about it. In the heat of the moment, he said that I didn't even have to cook much and that there were not that many dishes. So why am I making such a big deal and ruining the special day for him? I was so mad. Not only did he gaslight me and belittle my effort, but he also basically told me not to expect any appreciation in the future as it is an expectation. I said that he could have avoided all of this by simply saying, "Thank you, it looks nice," and we would have had a nice breakfast. He ruined the day himself and should not blame me for it. Am I the asshole? Did I ruin the day? After 11 years of marriage and conversion to his religion, the basics of his religion and culture should be clear and not a surprise. It's baffling when people marry into an environment that views women as less and then act offended when treated accordingly. Tell him to remember that the best of men are those who are best to their wives, and it's a wife's right to have help in the home. You did nothing wrong here by expecting a bit of gratitude and support. Am I the jerk for wanting my sibling to pay for my car bills after I trusted them with my keys? My sister, who is 19 years old, and I, who am 18 years old, were heading into the store to grab a gift for a friend of mine. While I was pulling up to the parking lot, an older man knocked on my window asking me to jump his car. My car is not in the best shape, and I was clearly in a rush, so I gave the man an excuse saying I did not know how to do it. Before I left, my sister interrupted me, saying she knew how to and that she could do it for me. I was a bit peeved, but I still handed over my keys and went inside the store. When I came out, my sister came over to me and said that my car was smoking. At this point, I was freaking out. I had no clue what was happening. When I finally got to the car, I saw smoke coming from inside and out. I got in and tried to start the car. Nothing. I tried again. Nothing. After a few minutes, I got it going. I was fully relieved, but still upset because we could have avoided this issue if she had not said anything. I asked her, "Hey, why did you tell that guy yes?" She replied, "I did not notice you did not want to help." I honestly just looked at her in disbelief. Right before we pulled into the road, my car suddenly stopped. We were freaking out because there were cars coming, so we just sat there. Luckily, our house was just across the street. My sister ran home to get her car, hoping we could jump mine. She came back and we tried jumping it. Nothing. Nothing. After around 30 minutes, some guy came to see what the issue was. He said it was not a battery issue but more of an engine issue. Something had melted. At this point, I was flipping out in my head, but I still had no clue what to do. The man was kind enough to put my car into neutral and pushed it backward all the way into a parking lot. After some time, I had to go, so I gave my sister the keys and left. When I got back, I got my keys from her and called up a family friend mechanic. He finally got the car to work again, but he said he needed to take it to the shop because there were a bunch of things messed up and melted. Now we come to this. I obviously know I did not do anything wrong. When I asked my sister when she was going to pay for the car bills, she told me she was not, and that it was my car and she did not do anything wrong. When I brought this up to my mother, she agreed with me at first, but recently told me that my sister will not be paying for my car bills, saying that it was not her fault anymore. As much as I try to talk to my parents, they both agree that I will be paying and that my sister had nothing to do with this. So, am I the asshole for wanting my sister to pay for my car bills? In my opinion, you have done nothing wrong here. Your sister volunteered your car to jumpstart someone else's car and fried your car in the process. The mechanic can give you a written statement on what caused the problem. Show it to your mom and sister. If she still does not pay, take her to small claims court. Once the car is fixed, she never gets to touch it or anything else of yours that you care about. Am I the jerk for secretly swapping out my parents' bridesmaid dress? My mom bought a bridesmaid dress online for her friend's upcoming wedding. She would typically wear an extra large, but when it arrived, it did not fit her. She has a lot of body issues, not her fault, as my grandma was awful to her. I do not like to see her get so down on herself. The dress not fitting was really a problem with the shape of the dress versus my mom's body shape. She is an apple shape with a wide rib cage, and this dress has an empire waist that is weirdly tight at the waist. Cut well for an hourglass or pear shape, but it would not zip for my mom. She asked me if I could let the dress out to fit her, and I told her I would work on it. I ended up ordering another of the exact same dress to fit her measurements, but had to go up to a 5X to get one with a waist that would fit her ribcage. I knew she would be mortified, even if it is just a subjective size, so I swapped the tags inside the dress and told her that I contacted the company, and they had mislabeled her first dress as an extra large by accident, and had sent her the correct extra large dress. Obviously, the 5X fit her ribs like a glove, and then I was able to take in the bust and shoulders to fit her really well. I also added flutter sleeves, as it was sleeveless and they made her more comfortable. She loves the dress now and happily believes that it is an extra large, but my sister found out what I did when she found the original dress in my closet. I could not return it because I took the size tag out. She wheedled the story out of me and she is furious with me for it. She says that lying to my mom does her no favors and indulges her body image issues instead of convincing her to own them. She says I robbed her of a chance to see how size is just a subjective number, and now she is going to be mortified if she figures it out and twice as humiliated if she realizes I hid the truth. My sister is threatening to tell her. She yelled at me that I am not allowed to say what mom is ready for. She says I have no business protecting mom from reality. I feel like my sister is acting really triggered, but I do not know why, and I do not see what is so bad about considering my mom's feelings. Please, tell me if I am not seeing this clearly and if my sister is right. Maybe she is, but I feel like she is just being weird. I finally got her to agree not to tell mom until after the wedding, but I am not sure I trust her. For clarification, this is my older sister, 7 years older than me. I am 34, and mom is 60. We also have a little brother. I have struggled with my size my whole life and recently lost a lot of weight, so I feel like I understand how my mom feels more than my sister does because she has been rail thin her whole life. I am also closer to my mom and know how badly she will overreact. Am I the asshole? Nothing you've done here makes me think you are the jerk here, but your sister is definitely the jerk here. You did a good thing by altering the dress to fit your mom, and there was no need to explain the details since she loved it. Your sister seems to have a complex about this whole situation and appears more interested in hurting your mom than helping her. Whatever it takes to put your sister in her place, do it, because her motivations are clearly not in the right place. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.